Hello, hello, everyone. Where is my music? My music. There. All right. Let me just double check that I am live and we can get started. Wait, pause music. I feel like my am I lagging? No, I'm not lagging, but I hear something weird in my microphone. Should I? Okay. Is that hello? Hello? I feel like that's not better. Um, oh, maybe it is. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that. So, gonna wear headphone and going back to the thing. Cool. So let me remove these. Awesome. So now I'm just here by myself because now I'm using my headphones microphone because for some reason it is not really working. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have too many things open and I should be closing them up, but I'm just really nervous because next week is Montreal Dreaming. So let me show you some stuff that we have for you. So Montreal, I feel weird without my microphone. I'm gonna leave it here even though I'm not using it because it makes me feel better. Anyway, so Montreal Dreaming, you can use MTLDR flat 5 for $50 off your combo tickets at montrealdreaming.com. So go ahead and check that out if you're going to Montreal Dreaming next week, which is June 5 and June 6. I hope to see you there. If you already have your tickets, then cool, you don't need this anymore. But if you want to purchase the tickets for both days, then go ahead and get that sweet discount. All right, so what are we doing today? We're doing some cursor stuff because I hadn't present cursor in a while. Like I've been doing Curie because it's really cool, but cursor deserves its own live stream. Cool. I'm gonna make this full screen and we can get started with cursor. So what, like, this is what I see, how I see it. Like, I feel like Curie is more useful when you want stuff to be done right. No, I'm just kidding. When you want stuff to be like, to make 100% sure, be 100% sure that it works and that it runs. Like, you will still have to check if it is what you want, but it is at least running, you know? So, what I'm gonna do here with cursor is I'm gonna try to develop something from scratch and show you what it can help me with. Like, you can all give it random things and expect it to know what to do, but it can help you if you have questions. For example, I don't go to Google anymore. I ask cursor, and cursor is able to find out the answers that I need from online. So that's one thing. I Google sometimes, but it's more like 10% of the times now I just use cursor for that. So let's start by designing an API and let's see what we can get to with cursor. So it is a little bit different. Let me go back to the main screen. Oh, and also I'm using Cursor Business. So if I am able to do more stuff that you can't, maybe that's why. Because I really tried to use Cursor free, but it was like getting ridiculous. I was not able to use it a lot. So I will have to do the demos for you on Cursor Business just so you can see like the extent of the tool. Anyway, yeah, so we have these options here at the top. This is the cursor settings, which you can check, especially if you're using MCP or A2A, because you have this beautiful menu. Privacy mode, for example, this, I have my privacy mode, all code remains private. Then we have features like cursor tab, the chat, and some other stuff that you can set up there. Oh, custom docs. Oh, that's cool. Editor, terminal. Then we have the models. So these are the models that Cursor is going to be using. In this case, can I select more? I can. But for now, I just have whatever is selected by default. So Claude 3.5, Claude 4, Opus Thinking and Sonnet Thinking, Gemini 2.5 Pro Preview, GPT 4.1, GPT 4.0, and 03. You can also add more models. Just says model name and add. That's cool. OpenAPI key. You can select your own OpenAPI key if you want to do more stuff, I guess. I don't know. Anthropic API key, Google API key, Azure API key. Is this off? Off, yeah. No. AWS Bedrock is off too, but like just so you know, you can like customize all of that if you need to. Then we have the rules. User rules, always output answers in Portuguese. Preferred tears answers, always use functional code. Oh, I can add to always use functional code. I'm not gonna do that yet. And then we have project rules. Cool. Yeah, to always tell the chat what to do, I guess. This is cool. This is where we had added before. Well, in my videos before, I had added rules file for Cursor, so it knows what are the best practices for my Mule projects. Then we have MCP servers. We can add global MCP servers by using this JSON file. I'm not gonna do it yet. More information here. No, that's fine. It's just docs. Then we have the indexing. Index new folders by default. Ignore files. Git graph file relationship. Team level repository control. Haven't really touched this. So, and we have the beta. Bug finder. Check out the bug finder tab in the activity bar. Run a bug finder on your current Git diff to find bugs. Interesting. Background agent. Enable the background agent in beta. Allows you to run agents in the cloud. Privacy during the preview period. Background privacy mode disabled. Oh, okay. I can't. Well, that would have been cool because you can only run one task at a time. But okay. Anyway, those are the settings. Then this is the new thing that threw me off when I started using Cursor because I thought it was gonna be like exactly like VS Code, but it's not. Just like in tiny little details. So with here, you can like show or hide the sections, like the left, the bottom, which is the terminal output and so on, or the right, which is the chat. So you can like click these buttons to show or hide, and you can of course move them around like this just to see if you want them bigger or smaller, just like in VS Code. All right, so let's get started. Let's create an API and let's see how Cursor does. So API specification. I'm not gonna enable this for agent topic and actions. project name, let's do to-do app. In my downloads, and this is ACV. You just have to install the, let me go back here a moment. If you come here to the extensions, you can install whatever extensions that you want, just as you would do in VS Code. So you can do that. You can install ACV, which I already have from here. And here, if you click here, you can see more options. Like, for example, I have Docker and Postman. They're pinned, so that's why I can see them from here. But the rest are not pinned, so you cannot see them. If I wanted to put, for example, the bug finder, it would appear here, and so on. Where's the bug finder? Here. And you know what? I don't, oh no, Explorer I use, source control I use, run debug I use, extensions. I don't use extensions that much. I can hide that. And that way I can have an Code Builder, Docker, and Postman. Cool, because those I use more. All right, so anyway, let's hide this. And I was doing, so in downloads, I want a REST API. You can select async API, but no, let's go back to basics and select OAS YAML. Yeah, business group. Oh, it's optional. Let's just create, because I just realized that I'm already signed in to my the username and well, the username that I'm going to be using at Montreal Dreaming next week. But that's fine. Oh, I keep looking at my microphone because I forgot that I'm not using this microphone, but it gives me comfort to have it right here with me. Anyway, let's hide the chat for now, and let's wait for this to load. I can also change the themes, but I honestly like the cursor theme. It's really cool. Okay, select the business group. What if I don't select it though? It's required to sync centralized rule sets. Fine. Oh, well, that's fine. I don't need centralized rule sets. I can do this on my own. I'm a big human. All right, so we have our thing. So if I open my console, I can see that there's nothing here. I can show API governance, publish API project to Exchange, or implement this local API. So let's start using this thing. So let's start by asking open to interpretation kind of questions to see what it does. Create, and let me remove the file. Create the necessary CRUD resources and operations for a to-do application to manage to-do tasks. Let's see what happens. Make it bigger. All right. Oh no! It's gonna start creating the whole, stop. No. Package JSON. No, I just need the, yes, I have to be specific. So package JSON, no. Let's delete this, move to trash. Okay, so let's try that again. So create the necessary CRUD resources and operations for a to-do application to manage to-do tasks. Now let me add the file, actually, the to-do app YAML. In this YAML file, I just need the API spec. No implementation yet. Let's see if that works. Okay. It's gonna modify a lot of things from here. We'll see what it does after it finishes. Cool. And then it's giving me the summary of what it did. Okay. So I've created a complete OpenAPI specification for the to-do application. Here's what I've included: base paths, to do, and to-dos, to do ID. Yep. Operations, get to-dos, list all to-dos, create a new to-do, get a specific to-do, update a to-do, and delete a to-do. Yes. Schemas, to-do, complete, to-do object with all properties, to-do input schema for creating or updating to-dos. Cool. And then properties for each to-do, an ID, a title, a description, string optional, completed, boolean, created at, and updated at. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Response codes, 200 successful for the get put, 201 successful for the post, 204 successful for the delete, 400 for invalid input, 404 for resource not found. Perfect. The specification follows RESTful principles and includes proper request response schemas, error handling, and documentation. You can now use the specification to implement the actual API endpoints. Would you like me to explain any specific part of the specification in more detail? Okay, not for now. So it ended up creating a description, didn't modify any of this, then added the paths, and we have the to-dos, get, summary, description, operation ID, responses, post, and then to-dos, to-do, parameters, to-do ID, get, put, delete, and then we have the schemas to-do, which is the object, ID, title, description, completed, created out, updated out, required, all of them, and then to-do input only required the title. Title of the to-do task, detailed description of the to-do task, status of the to-do task. Okay, so if we're gonna like update it, wouldn't I need the ID for this though? Because what if I change the title? So let's see. First, I'm gonna accept this file because I already saw the changes and I think they're good. We might have to modify a little bit, but let's just accept it for now. Because if you don't accept it, you can always reject it and it will like just undo everything that Cursor did, which is really cool. So let's see the console now. So we have the endpoints, to-dos, get, post, to-dos, to-do ID, get, put, delete. So if we try get, let's see. To-dos, a list of to-dos, for example, ID, title, description, completed. Okay, first I want more examples. So I'm gonna ask this, please add examples for the resources and or data types, I guess. Okay, and it already knows what I mean because it already created the OAS. All right, so it added more stuff. Would you like me to explain? No, that's fine. So now we can see what was the change here. And you can also see the changes from here. It says edited one file. You can accept it, reject it by file, or accept all, reject all. That's something that I really like from Cursor. All right, so example ID, which is this, the get. So we have ID, title, description, completed, created at, updated at. Interesting that the created at and updated at it's 2024 instead of being like today. That's interesting. Anyway, call mom, schedule weekend visit. All right, then we have here schedule for what? Post. Oh, it's when you're going to create a new one. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. then I don't need the ID. Yeah, that makes sense. Schedule dentist appointment, call Dr. Smith office, false. Okay. And then the responses for creating it, it will just return the ID and the date times. I don't think I need the updated at and created at. I'm gonna tell it to remove that. So for 100, invalid input title is required, for example. Yeah, okay, perfect. Example, example, example. Even the error have examples, which is really cool. Put yeah, that's no, but in this one we need the complete one because we need to know, like, as I said before, like if we change, yeah, this is not right. This is not a to-do input. This should be a to-do, like this one. But okay, we'll get to that later. This is fine. This is fine. Title is required. Delete, to do with ID not found. To do deleted successfully. And then examples for the ID and everything else. Example, example, example. Awesome, accept file. But now I'm gonna tell it to remove the created at and updated at. So remove the created at and updated at properties from everything. And I still have here my to-do app YAML, which is already in context, so it knows, like, I just wanted to modify this file. Okay. And you can also check one by one. So I'm going to do that now. So here we don't have anything about that. We have a created out of data that accept, accept. Here we don't have anything. And then here we have again, accept. Or again, you can just check everything and accept the whole file, whichever works best for you. Accept. Error. Yeah. I feel like it's gonna be accurate with that because it's very simple. Yeah, created out of data, accept file. Cool. So let me take a look at the console and see how this is going. So to-dos, get. So we get the complete list of the to-dos. Why is this like this? Oh, because, okay. Ha. Okay, this is another cool thing about Cursor. I can simply take a screenshot, like, okay, I'm taking a screenshot with my own, like, Mac thing. Like if I select what, Command Shift function, no, Command Shift Control 4. Yes, Command Shift Control 4 from my Mac, I am able to do this. So if I select this thing, I will take a screenshot, put it in the clipboard, and then I can tell Cursor, which is this, the get. Okay. So when I open the API console to see the preview of the get list all to-dos, let me paste the image here. Now it's here, as you can see it. So now we have the file in the context and also the image in the context. So when I open the API console to see the preview of the get list all to-dos, the example doesn't look right. So let's ask and see what it says. And yes, it was able to find it. The issues in the example preview are field names and values are incorrectly escaped. The values are wrapped in extra quotes. Field name is ID instead of ID. The schema uses ID, but the example shows ID. Boolean is a string. Oh, I didn't even see that one. That is true. Completed true should be completed true without quotes. This usually occurs if the YAML example values are written with extra quotes or if they're blah, blah, blah. Okay. How to fix? Do not use quotes around booleans or numbers. Would you like me to update your YAML to ensure all examples? Yes. So let me close the API console and let's see if it fixes it. Also, this is easier with Cursor because it's OAS. Like OAS is more used widely in the internet than Mule applications. Mule applications and units and all of that sort are harder to use in Cursor. I have tried it several times and it's not that good because it doesn't really know what to do because there's not a lot of information on the internet as opposed to OpenAPI or like React or JavaScript or something else that it has more information about. All right, so let's see what it did. I'm not gonna read the summary, I'm just gonna see it. So, okay, so it removed the quotes, title by groceries, description get meals. Okay, perfect. I like this one. And then it did the same thing here, except scheduled and disappointment. Yeah, it removed the quotes here, remove the quotes. Title is required, remove the quotes, remove the quotes. Yeah, again, remove the quotes, remove the quotes, removed the quotes. And here we have the completed true. Remove the quotes, remove the quotes. I think pretty much it removed the quotes. So let me just quickly skim through it. Just to make sure, yes, accept file. Okay, let's see the console now. To do is get. We still see the ID though. And I think I know what it is. Let me just double check before I commit to it. So this is a call mom. I think it's this one. No. I just want, no, I don't want the tab. Stop doing the tab. Okay, here. Yes, that's what fixes it. You need to move this. Okay, so that is a fix. I want to see if Cursor can make it. So let me tell it, let me take the screenshot first. So let me take the whole screenshot like this. Okay, so you fixed the quotes, but not the dash. And just paste the image and let's see what it does. Let me close the API console again. Great observation! The dash in YAML indicates a list item, which is correct for YAML, but some API documentation tools like Swagger UI or Redoc may misinterpret the example in the list is not properly indented, blah, blah, blah. Okay. How to fix, to put the whole thing. JSON block, no. Would you like me to update? No. Is there another alternative? The indentation is correct. The example is placed under key example, blah, blah, blah. If you're still seeing this, double check that your OpenAPI doesn't have anywhere in the example or schema. A bug. No. Okay. Let me ask it. What if the dash is left on its own and we put a new line between the dash and the ID? I'm just giving it a hint. I know, like, it would be easier for me to do it, but let's see. If you write the YAML like this with the dash on its own line and a new line before the ID, this is still a valid YAML, and it's just a more explicit way to write a list of objects. Okay, can you do this? Perfectly valid. Would you like me to update your YAML? Yes. Now we wait. And we wait, and we wait, and we wait some more. Okay. Cool. Sure. So we have, this is the beginning, yeah. I think this is the only one that uses dash, actually, because the rest are not arrays. So yeah, accept file. And let's see. All right, awesome. Fixed. So we have the get, and we receive a list of to-dos that will look like this. Let me make this bigger, which is exactly what we want. This all looks right. So title, ID, title, and completed are required, but description is not. Cool. And then we have the post, create a to-do. So just the title, description, and completed. And these are the input examples. So there are two different examples, but it's the same example. Create a new to-do input. Let me take another screenshot. Wait, let me zoom out just so I can see more information about this. Like this. Perfect. Now I can zoom in and tell here. Yeah. Why are there two same examples here? Because both of the following are present in your OpenAPI YAML for the post to-do endpoint. An example under the schema definition to do, an example directly under the request. Cool. So how to fix? You only need one example for clarity. You can remove the example from the schema or remove the example from the request body. If you want endpoint specific examples, keep them in the request body. If you want a generic sample, keep them in the schema. Where do I want the examples then? Schema or request body? Now keep them in the schema. All right, so then everything that we did here was useless. That's all right. I feel like it's getting slower and slower the more I use it. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. Are you done? Can I? Okay. Oh, did you just remove one? No, but like, but remove all the examples from the resources and just keep them in the schemas to avoid duplication. So I'm not gonna accept this yet. I'm gonna see what it does now. Or fine, I can accept it. Oh, this is slow. Oh, here you go. Okay, so removed the example, remove the example, remove the example. Okay. What? Oh, it added a schema. Okay. Okay, example, 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 example. That's it, right? Yeah. All right. So, but now it created schemas for the errors. And I would prefer the schemas to be here under schemas. So let me tell it from here, for example. And we can select Command L or press here, add to chat, and this will give it more context. So now it's not only the file, which is here the full file, it's also the lines. So here we can see lines 119 to 127. So I can keep adding stuff. Components, schemas. So here. So now we have these two different, pieces of lines. So you added schemas to the errors directly. Please keep all schemas under its own section instead of under the resources. And a lot of you are gonna tell me like, Alex, would it be easier to just do it all by myself? Like I would have been done by now. That is not the point, Craig. I'm gonna call you Craig. If your name is Craig, I'm so sorry. It just came to my mind because there's some cookies here that are called Craig cookies, and I just whatever. Craig, yes, you can do it by yourself. Wait, you have to look me in the eye for this, Craig. Yes, Craig, you can do it by yourself. But is that really the point of AI? Like, we need to be using these tools, Craig. And at some point, we're gonna have to go with the times, or we're just gonna keep being like grumpy people saying, in my times, this didn't happen. Well, yes, in your time, there was not a developer advocate that would create awesome videos and live streams for you. Okay. Anyway, this worked. So it created, where's the schema? Error. It created the schema error, type object properties error, type string. required error. Okay, so here we have delete, and it put the error there. Awesome. And then we have, okay, let me go from up to down. The get doesn't have any errors here. Post has a 404 error. And then to-dos get has a 404. And put has a 404. And a 400 invalid input. Cool. Yeah, and then just this. Awesome. So now let's continue seeing. I'm really sorry if your name is Craig. Like, that is not personal at all. I actually don't know anyone named Craig. Just putting that out there. Putting that out there. Putting it out there. Yes. So we have the array of objects, which is like the whole thing. Then we go to the create to do. So, if we have the create to do, we have the to do input. Okay, again, let me make this bigger. Like this. So we have no ID. That makes sense. ID, description, completed. So completed is not required, but it would be false. So that's fine. But do we have it here? Let me see. Schemas, to do input, was it? Yes. Completed type boolean example false, and let's add default false. Yes. No, didn't like it. Types to do. No, to do input. Completed false. Boolean default value false. No, I did. Okay. So post. Anyway, completed false. So description. We don't need a complete description. We just need the title, which is required, and we don't need these. It's because the default is going to be false. Then the responses, we have a 201 created because it will return the ID. Cool. So ID required, title required, description not required, and completed required. And then we have 404, which has no example. So you forgot. Let's yell at it in capital letters. You forgot to add the error example. Invalid. Accept. Thank you. But let's add whatever error happened. Okay, so go back to do post. Title required, description completed, blah, blah, blah. So created or 400 error, whatever error happened. Cool. And then we go to do. So get one to do. Get a to do by ID. We have to add the string required ID of the to do task. And there is no example. Also add an example for the URI parameter here. Also add an example for the URI param. Close this. And where is it? Here. Cool. Let's continue. So we were in the get. Now we have the example required. Looks like this. And we have here the example, buy groceries, blah, blah, blah. So we're getting just one. ID required, title required, description not required, complete required. Awesome. Now update to do. String required, yeah, because it's the same. Yeah, but this is the, yes, this is the one that I had issues with. So let me get this. L. Shouldn't the update be of type, what was the type? To do. To do instead of to do input. Because what if you change the title of the to do and you have no ID to check? Oh, but then, okay, let me ask. And you have no ID to check which one to update, or how, where you thinking to update it in the implementation? This is more of a conversation with like an intern, or I don't know, like something like that. Great question. Okay, so let's see what it tells me. So here's how it works in typical RESTful API design, and why to do input is used for the update, put, request body. Standard RESTful pattern, the put endpoint uses the to-do ID from the URL path. Oh, that's right, because because I'm dumb. Okay. The request body contains only the fields you want to update, title, description completed, not the ID. The ID is not needed in the body because the resource is already identified by the path parameter. You are completely right. I am dumb. Why not use to do with ID in the body? The ID in the body would be redundant. That is correct. It can also lead to inconsistencies. What if the ID in the body and the path are different? Most RESTful APIs use a separate input schema for creation and update without ID, and a full schema with ID for responses. That is completely correct. Let me know if you want to see an example implementation or if you want to discuss patch versus input. Let's discuss patch versus input. Absolutely. Here's a clear comparison of what time is it? Oh, I still have time. Okay. Here's a clear comparison of patch versus put in RESTful APIs, especially as it relates to your to-do app. Put. So definition, put is used to completely replace a resource at a given URI with the data provided in the request body. Behavior, the entire resource is replaced. If a field is omitted in the request body, it is typically set to its default value or removed, depending on the implementation. Example, suppose your current to-do is this. A put request will be this. The result, the to-do with ID 123 is replaced with the new data. If you omit description, it may be set to null or removed, depending on your backend. Yeah, that's what I want. And patch is used to partially update a resource. Only the fields provided in the request body are updated, all others remain unchanged. Only specified fields are changed, omitted fields are left as is. For example, if you send completed true, only the completed field is updated to true. Title and description remain unchanged. Yeah. So you use put when you want to replace the entire resource, when the client always sends the full object, and when you want to enforce that all fields are always present. But you use patch when you want to allow partial updates, when the client may only want to update one or a few fields, when you want to avoid accidentally overriding fields with defaults or nulls. Best practice for to-do APIs, use put if you want clients to always send the full to-do object, except for ID, which is in the path. Thank you. Use patch if you want to allow clients to update only the fields they care about. So for example, just mark as completed. I think I'm going to stick to put. Many modern APIs support both, but patch is often more user-friendly for front ends. Schema differences: put, the request body schema should require all updatable fields. Patch, the request body schema should make all fields optional. Would you like to add patch support to your API or change your current put to behave more like a patch, or do you want to see example OpenAPI spec for both? No, I'm good. Thank you. All right, so then I guess this is all done. What time is it? I have 10 minutes. So we did the get, did we? Yeah, we saw it, right? Yeah, we saw the get. Let's see the put. So yes, the example is this. The title is required, description not required, and the completed not required? Shouldn't it be required? Oh well, the default is gonna be false anyway. All right, to do updated successfully, and it returns everything. Cool. And then we have the delete to do. So we're just gonna send the ID, and we're gonna receive 204 to do delete successfully. It has no content, and 404 to do not found. So error, whatever error happened. Oh, this is awesome. Well, it actually created the whole thing for us. I like it. I'm gonna put this up in my GitHub repo, so you all can take a look at this. Oh, there's other one thing that I want to do. Can you create a cursor rules file for yourself in this repo where you add everything you learned today? I think this is not the name, but that's okay. I can close this now. Close. All right, it added the dot cursor rules. That's not the one that I need. That's okay. Cursor rules file has been created in your repo, summarizing all the OpenAPI and RESTful API best practices and conventions we've discussed. All right, so let me take a look at what it created. Open preview. So cursor rules for to-do app, OpenAPI design, schema placement. All schemas, including error schemas, must be defined under component schemas in the OpenAPI YAML. No inline schemas in endpoints, responses, request bodies, or parameters. Always use ref to reference schemas. Example usage. Examples should only be defined in the schema definition under component schemas. Do not duplicate examples in endpoints. For array examples, use YAML list syntax with dashes on their own line for readability. For path parameters, provide an example value directly in the parameter definition. Error handling. Define a single error schema under component schema. Reference the schema in all error responses using ref. Put versus patch. Put is used, patch is used. For this to do app, use put. And consider adding patch for partial updates if needed. Request response, body design. For post and put, use a schema to do input that does not include the ID file. The ID is always taken from the path parameter. For updates, for get and response bodies, use the full to-do schema, including ID. Boolean and data types, use native YAML JSON types in examples. Do not wrap UIDs or Booleans in quotes. General OpenAPI conventions. Always provide a description for endpoints, parameters, and schema properties. Use operation ID. Keep the OpenAPI YAML clean and dry. Don't repeat yourself. This file documents the OpenAPI and RESTful API conventions and best practices for this repo. Follow these rules for all future API design and documentation work in this project. Love it. But that is not the cursor rules that I was talking about. So if I come here and I select cursor rules, add new rule, it's gonna add my custom rule, which is, what do I want this to do? To do API spec rules. Sure. So we have the to do API spec rules, rule type, agent requested, auto attached, always. This rule attached to every chat and command K request. Yes. Because auto attach means only for certain things. Agent requested, I don't know. And manual, this rule needs to be mentioned to be included. So let's do always. Save. And I'm just gonna put this whole thing. So accept file, but I'm just gonna put it here. Save. Perfect. That's it. Oh, I don't think I can see it. I cannot see this preview. Oh well, that's fine. Delete. Move to trash. Awesome. So there we have it. This is everything that it learned, and it created the rules files with everything that it learned. So this is really cool. I like it. All right. So yes, I'm gonna add this whole thing in a GitHub repo for you to check out. If you want to just see like all the code that it generated, it was really cool. But as you saw, like going back and forth, talking to it, you kind of have to ask some questions to it just to make sure that everyone is on the same page, and also just tell it sometimes what to do because it doesn't always know what to do. So that was Cursor AI. I'm using the business version, so maybe for the free version you don't have everything that I showed, but that is a great preview for you. Awesome. So remember to follow us on twitch.tv/MuleSoft_community. As some people have been asking me about the videos that have been removed from Twitch, that is because Twitch has added some limits on the amount of videos that it is saving. So now we're publishing our most important, not important, sometimes I just come here and ramble and I don't really get to anything. So I'm not updating those to YouTube. But we are updating the rest to YouTube. So if you come here as a guest, then your live stream will be on the official MuleSoft YouTube channel. So I believe this video will be on the YouTube channel because it was really cool what we just did. So see you there. But you can still follow us on Twitch in case you want to see like some of the previous recordings in just one place. All the ones from this year are going to be there. So go check it out. The year is 2025. And remember, if you are going to Montreal Dreaming, go ahead and check this out. If you haven't purchased your tickets and you want to go for the 2 days, which is June 5 and June 6, you can use this coupon to get $50 off your ticket. All right. That is all for this video. I hope you like it, and I will upload this thing into my GitHub, which is Alexandra Martinez. All right, I will see you. I won't see you next week because I will be on Montreal Dreaming. But if you're on Montreal Dreaming, then I will see you next week. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.